Welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level grammar lesson, and today we're going to be looking at the articles each and every. All right, so which sentences are correct, and are there any differences in the meaning? So each side of the square is 10 centimeters. Every side of the square is 10 centimeters. He won each card game that we played. He won every card game that we played. Each seat was taken on the bus. Every seat was taken on the bus. Each house on that street has its own garden, or every house on that street has its own garden. So you can explain in the comments if you think any of these are incorrect or if there's a difference in meaning, and then you can restart the video when you're ready to continue. So all of these are grammatically correct. Native speakers generally will use one or the other, just according to their preference, one that sounds more natural, but they're all equally correct grammatically. All right, so look at the differences between each and every, and in many cases they have the same meaning. So each child must take home this form. So in this sentence, we are thinking of the students one by one. Every child should receive a free education. So in this sentence, we are thinking of the students as a group. All right, so now we're going to read about some small differences between each and every. We normally use each for a small number. Each student passed the test. They put a painting on each wall in the room. And we generally use every for a large number. Every student passed the test. Every person at the concert was under 25 years old. Each can be used for two things. In basketball, each team has 5 players on the court, but we wouldn't say every team has 5 players on the court when we're talking about the players in a single game. Now, every is often used with time words, although each can be used too, and answers the question how often. He goes to the gym every day. She cooks every day of the week. You could say he goes to the gym each day or she cooks each day of the week, but it just, to a native speaker, that would sound a little bit odd. It's not really wrong, but it just sounds, it would sound unusual to a native speaker. All right, so now look at these sentences again, and according to what you've seen, can you explain which are the correct or best sentences? So if we're thinking about it being a small number, each side of the square is 10 centimeters. Probably because this is a small number, each would be more natural to say. He won every card game that we played. So this might be a larger number of games that were played. Probably here, every seat on the bus was taken. This is a larger bus, and so we're thinking of a larger number. And again, here, every house on that street has its own garden. So when you're talking about a whole street, an entire street, you're probably talking about a larger number of houses. All right, so now complete each sentence with either each or every. You can pause the video and try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. All right, so each side of the triangle measures 5 centimeters. He has a tattoo on each arm. Every, or you could say each, bedroom in her house also has a bathroom. Kind of depends on the size of the house. If there are only two bedrooms, you would probably say each. If there are more than two, probably would say every. Um, every wall in the city has graffiti on it. So an entire city, that's a large number. Um, please make sure that every person at the table has ordered. You're looking, well, this one could be either each or every. Again, each could be if there's a small number of people, smaller number, you might say each. But if you're thinking about the table as an entire group, you could say every. Um, every hotel in that town seemed very expensive. Again, in an entire town, it's probably a larger number. When you play poker, each player should start with 5 cards. Again, you could say every, possibly, but usually in a poker game, there's a smaller number of players, 3 to 5 generally. And just be patient. A bus comes every 15 minutes because generally we use every with time phrases. All right, again, you can pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. When Jamie cooks, he uses every dish in the kitchen with a mess. So again, a large number. There was an explosion in the building and every window was smashed. So that's probably a larger number, all the windows in a tall in a building. The Venice Art Biennial takes place every 2 years, so we use every with time phrases. She has rings on each hand. People generally have just 2 hands, so we use each when it's just two, usually. I haven't seen Roger in a long time. Every hair on his head is gray. So probably talking about a large number of hairs. And to start the game, each person rolls the dice. The person with the highest number wins. Again, a board game, you're generally looking at 3 to 5 players, so a smaller number, so we'd use each. All right, you can see that you've seen that we can use each and every with a noun. We can use each by itself without a noun, but you cannot use every alone without a noun. So for example, all of the students were happy. Each had passed the exam, but you can't say every had passed the exam. All of the students were happy. Everyone had passed the exam. So you can say that, everyone. You could also say each one had passed the exam. But you just can't use every by itself. All right, so now try to make a sentence to describe each of these pictures using each or every. And you can put your sentences in the comments. All right, each one of and every one of, look at the following sentences and note the difference. I've read all these books. I've read every one of these books. Oops. I've read every one of them. I've read every one of the books in my bookshelf. I've answered each of these questions or each one of these questions. I've answered each of them. I've answered each of the questions in my exam. And you can say either each or each one. All right, so now you're going to look at these sentences, determine if it's correct. If it is not, you can correct it, and there might be more than one way to correct the sentence. So Jane ate every of those chocolates in the box. You can't say every by itself. You could either say every one of those chocolates, each of those chocolates, each one of those chocolates. Please give a form to every of the children. you would need to say, please give a form to each of the children. As each of the guests arrived, a photographer took their photo. That one is fine. A leap year occurs every 4 years. That one is correct. He normally cleans his car each week. That's fine. Every one of my shirts is dirty. That's correct. And in a baseball match, every team has 25 players. Here you would probably want to say each, because in a single baseball match, you have 2 teams. So you would want to say each. If you were talking about baseball as a whole, as a concept, the sport as a whole, you might say every, but when you're talking about a single match or a single game, you would say each, because there are only 2 teams playing each other. So each can appear in different places of the sentence, and look at these sentences and see if you can determine the rules. Each of the children has a new book. Each child has a new book. The children each have a new book. So you can see here the verb changes because now the children is the subject rather than each being the subject. Miss Grable gave each of the children a new book. Miss Grable gave the children each a new book, and Miss Grable gave the children a new book each. So read the information about where we put each in a sentence. Each comes before a noun to talk about individual items. Each student has a book. So student is the noun, and each is basically like an adjective describing the student. Each comes after a plural subject to talk about everyone in the group. They each have a ticket. So the plural subject they. So it's talking about everyone in the group. Each comes after an auxiliary or helping verb like is, have, or can. We can each bring some food to the party. So here we have can, so the each comes between the helping verb can and the main verb bring. All right, so where does each belong in each sentence? Again, you can try these on your own. There might be more than one possibility. And then restart the video when you're ready to check your answers. So here, probably the most natural sounding was each child got a gift. We can each choose a game to play. So here the each comes between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. Each day I walk to school. Each of the students have a pencil, or the students each have a pencil. Yeah, sorry, that would have to be, yeah, we would need, if we put each at the beginning, this would have to be has. So as the sentence is written, it should be the students each have a pencil, or the students have a pencil each. Each child gets a candy. The dogs each have a collar. Each person needs a ticket. And each of the flowers, you would need to say, smells nice. All right, so now move each to create new sentences and make any changes needed. Again, you can pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Sally bought her friends each a present, or Sally brought her friends a present each. The teacher sent her students each an email, or the teacher sent her students an email each. He cooked his daughters each a delicious meal. He cooked his daughters a delicious meal each. We gave the guests each a card, or we gave the guests a card each. John brought his friends each a sandwich. John bought his friends a sandwich each. Peter promised the children each an ice cream. Peter promised the children an ice cream each. And the waiter served the customers each a coffee. The waiter served the customer a coffee each. All right, so now make a sentence with each to describe each picture. And again, you can put your sentences in the comments. Now, with some stative verbs, especially cost, measure, and weigh, each can be moved. And look at the examples. Each of the new books costs $45. The new books each cost $45. The new books cost $45 each. Each of the books measures 19 by 28 centimeters. The books each measure 19 by 28 centimeters. The books measure 19 by 28 centimeters each. Each of the books weighs 2 pounds. The books each weigh 2 pounds, or the books weigh 2 pounds each. All right, so for each sentence, we're going to create 2 sentences by moving each, and remember to change the verb into its plural form. Pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to look at the answers. Okay, these paintings each cost $300, or these paintings cost $300 each. Those cars each cost $5,000. Those cars cost $5,000 each. Those chairs each weigh 10 pounds. Those chairs weigh 10 pounds each. The windows each measure 100 centimeters by 180 centimeters. The windows measure 100 centimeters by 180 centimeters each. The apples each cost 50 cents. The apples cost 50 cents each. The boxes each weigh 30 kilograms. The boxes weigh 30 kilograms each. My paintings each measure 1 meter by 1 meter. My paintings measure 1 meter by 1 meter each. Those postcards each cost 50 cents. Those postcards cost 50 cents each. All right, now make your own sentences using each. So there might be several ways of doing this. I would probably say those lemons cost $1 each. We split the restaurant bill. We paid $17 each. Each of those tickets costs $20.25. She has rings on each of her hands. Each of the rooms in that hotel has a view of the swimming pool. Each time I called you yesterday, there was no answer. Those books cost $30 each, and the price of the shoes is of the pair of shoes is $50 each. All right, so now complete the question using each or every, and then discuss, and use each and every in your answers. So what is one thing that you do every morning? Do you like to try every new food that you see? Why or why not? What is something you do every weekend? What is one thing you like about each season? And what do you usually eat for each meal of the day? And then you can answer these questions in the comments. All right, so now write a short paragraph using each and every. Describe your daily routine or an activity that you regularly do. And here's an example. Every morning I wake up at 7 a.m. I always eat breakfast. It is the first thing I do each day. After breakfast, I get ready for school, and then you can continue and you can share that in the comments. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, participate using the comments, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.